Welcome to the deep dive. You asked for a shortcut, right? How to get the useful bits on managing stress, information overload without reading stacks of books. So today we're getting straight to it. How to stop your surroundings from just sucking away your focus and energy.
Yeah, it's definitely a deep dive we need. Modern life, well, the framework we looked at calls it death by 1,000 cuts.
1,000 cuts. I get that.
Yeah, it's not, huge crises usually. It's the buildup, all those tiny constant annoyance.
Oh, definitely. Slow internet, someone cutting you off, that weird policy change at work, endless phone buzzes.
Exactly.
They seem small, right? But they're like energy vampires. They really diminish your ability to handle the big stuff.
That's it. These little stressors add up and they block you from, well, thinking clearly, operating at full capacity. And the strategy we're pulling apart today, the let them theory, it's designed to stop that drain, like immediately.
Okay, let them theory. What's the main idea?
Yeah.
Is it just being more patient or forcing it?
No, it's actually more strategic than just patience. The core idea is the more you truly decide to let other adults be who they are, say what they say, do what they do, the better your own life gets. It's really a way to guard your most valuable resources, your time and your energy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's dig into why we give that time and energy away so easily then. Why do these little things hijack us?
Well, fundamentally, it's because we fight against a basic law of human nature. You just cannot control what other adults say or think or do. It's impossible.
Right.
So when you get agitated because someone's driving slowly or maybe some unsolicited advice from your aunt just sends you spinning, you're basically pouring your precious energy into fighting something you literally cannot control.
It's like cognitive inefficiency on a grand scale.
Yeah.
We're spending top-tier mental energy on things that are, well, external and uncontrollable.
The studies really highlight this. Think about being stuck in a really long line somewhere, like, I don't know, a garden center, and the cashier is just moving incredibly slowly. The immediate reaction for most people is irritation, right? The huffing, the silent fuming.
Yeah, been there.
But if you let that slow pace ruin your mood, you've effectively handed over control of your emotional state to, a stranger.
Well, putting it that way, outsourcing your mood. Once you see you've given up that control, it kind of changes the perspective.
Exactly.
And this idea isn't brand new, is it? The research pointed to Stoic philosophy, like Epictetus, saying it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters.
That's the absolute core of it. Your real power is always in your reaction. If you spend, say, 20 minutes fuming about traffic, you haven't punished the traffic. You've just punished yourself by starting your day or your meeting already in the red, emotionally speaking.
Which leads us straight into the brain science. Because this isn't just about having a bad attitude. Stress is physiological. What's the mechanism that keeps us stuck? That stat was pretty shocking. 7 out of 10 people living in chronic stress. From Dr. Aditi Nerurkar at Harvard Med.
It is astonishing. And Dr. Aditi's work makes it really clear. Stress isn't just feeling tense. It physically hijacks how your brain works. There are basically two parts of the brain fighting for the driver's seat.
Okay, so the first one is the one we want in charge.
Right. That's your prefrontal cortex, your PFC. That's the logical part. It's running the show when you're planning, organizing, making rational decisions, being patient, the best version of you.
But then the slow cashier happens, or the annoying email lands.
And bam, control shifts instantly
So,
to the amygdala. It's this little almond-shaped bit deep in the brain, your survival center.
the fight or flight thing.
Fight, flight, or freeze, yeah. When the amygdala grabs the wheel, that response is automatic. And when you're operating from there, you're neurologically wired for snap decisions, impulsive reactions, zero patience.
So if that response is meant for, like, actual emergency, short-term things, why are so many of us stuck in it all the time? That 7 out of 10 number again.
It's those 1,000 cuts we talked about. The constant, relentless nature of modern stressors. If you're chronically stressed, your brain literally gets locked in survival mode.
Okay.
And when your amygdala is constantly buzzing in the background, it seriously hinders your ability to think long-term, plan effectively, even make simple decisions well. That's the neurological basis for things like burnout, procrastination, doom scrolling, even that loud inner critic. Your brain just isn't set up for higher level thinking when it thinks there's a tiger around the corner.
That begs the question then, if the stress response is automatic, how do we, manually override it? How do we switch control back to the logical brain, the PFC?
Okay, that is exactly what this let them let me hack is for. Think of it as a mental circuit breaker. It sends a signal to your brain saying, essentially, stand down. This is not a real survival threat.
Okay, let's break it down. First part, let them. What does that actually do in the brain?
Let them is a conscious decision. You're deciding to emotionally disengage from the external thing. You actively acknowledge, I cannot control that driver, that boss, that slow cashier.
Right.
You're telling your amygdala, this isn't worth firing up the whole stress system for. It's about recognizing the boundary of your control.
And then immediately, the second part, let me. That sounds like the action part, the physical reset.
Exactly. Let me is where you pause and you take a deep breath. And this isn't just, folk wisdom. It has a direct physiological effect.
How so?
That deep breath stimulates your vagus nerve, which sends a signal straight up to your brain telling it to calm down. It physically helps switch control back to the strategic prefrontal cortex.
So you move from just reacting, pure emotion, to actual calculated action. I remember that airplane story in the materials that felt like a perfect example.
Oh, yeah, the ultimate stress test, right. You're trapped on a long flight next to someone coughing nonstop, like right out into the open air.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. The immediate reaction is pure amygdala, isn't it? Huffing, giving the evil eye, maybe planning some passive-aggressive comment.
Totally. And as the story went, none of that reactive stuff worked. Trying to control the cougher just made the person more stressed.
Right. It just spiraled.
Exactly. The power only came back when the person consciously used the theory. Okay, let him cough. I literally cannot control his lungs. But then immediately, let me focus only on what strategic action I can control.
Which in that case was pretty simple, actually.
Yeah, putting on a scarf over her mouth and nose, putting in noise-canceling headphones. Simple, controlled actions that brought immediate peace, instead of stewing, or worse, complaining about it for hours or days later.
And that's the key. It stops the stress spiral. You're not still replaying it, complaining about the coughing guy to your friends later. You protected your own peace, your focus.
Conserved your energy, reduced decision fatigue, kept your cognitive bandwidth clear for things that actually matter to you.
Okay, let's scale this up. We need to apply it to those chronic stressors, especially at work. That's a huge source of stress for so many people. Think about really unfair situations. The micromanaging boss, passive-aggressive emails, maybe being overlooked for a promotion you absolutely earn. You do deserve to be angry there.
That's true. The situation itself can be genuinely unfair. But here's where the strategic thinking comes in. Does staying angry actually help you achieve your career goals?
Probably not.
Right. If you've already done everything you reasonably can, talked to the boss, gone to HR, whatever, then continuing to pour emotional energy into the unfairness is just inefficient. It keeps you stuck.
But isn't there a risk? Does let them at work just mean you become a doormat, letting people walk all over you? How does this differ from just giving up?
That's a really important distinction. Let them isn't resignation. It's calculated emotional disinvestment. You say, okay, let them string me along with this promotion, or let them send those annoying emails. You accept you can't directly control their behavior right now. And then you immediately pivot all that energy. You just save the anger, the frustration, straight into let me.
And the let me is all about your next move, your action.
Yes. Who's ultimately in charge of your career path? You are. So it becomes, let me use this energy to polish my resume. Let me reach out to my network. Let me find a better opportunity at a company that will value me.
I see. So you stop banging your head against the wall you can't change.
And you start building a door somewhere else. The power shifts completely back to you and your actions.
Okay, this brings up discernment, though.
Yeah.
How do you decide which things are worth your energy? Not everything can just be let them away.
Yeah.
The framework used that dog poop test.
Haha. Yeah, it's a practical example for checking if something aligns with your values or long-term goals. Imagine you're in a park, maybe you're concerned because people aren't cleaning up after their dogs, and you worry the park access might get restricted. Then you see someone let their dog do its business, pick a few leaves over it, and walk off. That potentially clashes with your value of, say, community responsibility or protecting shared spaces.
So the test is, how long will this bother me?
Basically, yeah. Ask yourself, will this specific incident still be bothering me in an hour, a week, a year? If it's fleeting, maybe let them. But if the issue connects to something bigger, like the park potentially closing, or it violates a core value you hold,
Then action might be needed.
action might be the appropriate let me. But the crucial part is you get to choose the action strategically, not reactively.
Right. So your let me options could be,
Well, why?
you could shrug and think, okay, maybe they're having a terrible day.
That's one option. Or let me just pick it up myself because keeping the park clean matters more to me than who made the mess. Or let me take note and report it to the park authorities later if that feels like the right level of engagement.
The specific action depends on the situation and your values.
Exactly. The context is always unique, but the power to choose a response that serves your goals and values, that power is constant.
Yeah.
You're deciding the best use of your energy.
Let's try applying this to something even bigger, like civic engagement.
Yeah.
Politics.
Yeah.
That's often incredibly stressful for people. It feels so out of control.
The exact same principles apply, just on a larger scale. You often can't control the past outcome. The election result is in, the court made its ruling, the school board voted. So the first step is let them own those past decisions. You have to accept that what just happened happened. You can't unring that bell by staying angry about it.
But acceptance of the past isn't surrender about the future.
Right.
The pivot is still to let me.
Precisely. If that political issue, that ruling, that policy matters enough to you that it's causing significant stress,
Yeah.
then it absolutely matters enough for you to redirect that emotional energy into strategic future action. Let me get involved with this campaign. Let me write to my representative. Let me organize with like-minded people. Let me focus on the next election, the next policy debate.
That reframes it as strength, not weakness. Like Andrea Waters King said, choosing peace and purpose isn't surrender. It actually fuels action. It reminds me of Margaret Mead, too. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world.
Exactly. Detaching strategically from the uncontrollable anger about the past actually frees up your energy and clarity to be one of those effective, committed citizens focused on the future.
So, wrapping this up, the let them theory isn't about being passive at all.
Not at all. It's your strategic guide. It's about making smarter choices about where your precious time and energy go, protecting your peace, and realizing that when you stop pouring energy into things you can't control, you gain immense clarity and power to act effectively on the things you can.
The bottom line really is, you always get to choose what impacts you and how much. Using this let them, let me framework stops that slow drain of your life force. It lets you channel it back where it counts.
So, here's something to think about. If we know chronic stress often leads to self-doubt, maybe procrastination, what specific long-term goal have you been putting off? And how could using Let Me, focusing on the strategic action you can take, put you firmly back in the driver's seat to make progress on it, maybe even start